Prosecutor gets fired 54 minutes into his job. A burger chain sells off a third of its restaurants to survive. A wildfire in Minnesota chokes out Detroit. And 156 golfers from every corner of the planet tee off on a course that doesn't care about what passport you're holding. Four stories overlap on the surface, but stay with me because every one of these is really about the same questions. What happens when something crosses a line it wasn't supposed to cross? I am Mr. O from Minnesota. Let's get into it. Round one of the 154th Open Championship is live right now at the Royal Birkdale Southport, England. Scotty Scheffler is defending, Rory McIlroy is chasing history on an English soil. A field of 156 players who qualified through a dozen different pathways, past champions and world rankings, qualifying series, and even amateurs who kept their status just to be here. Here's what is easy to miss about a major like this. Golf is one of the only sports where the golf course is the opponent, not the other guy in the group next to you. Nobody's trying to be physically to stop Scheffler. The wind off the Irish Sea doesn't care about the seeding. Royal Birkdale doesn't know or care what country produced the guy standing on the first tee. That's the whole appeal of a links major. It's a rare arena where the geography, not politics, set the rules, which is going to matter in about 8 minutes because everything else on today's list is the opposite of that. Red Robin just sold 116 company owned restaurants back to franchisor operators, cutting more than 175 million in debt in the process. This is a 2 year of their first choice plan. The turnaround strategy they launched in 2024, the numbers came in ugly. It's actually working, which is the surprising part. Jeffries just upgraded the stock. Same store sales are stabilizing, and a 9.99 burger deal is pulling foot traffic back in. Compare that to what happened on the border and Smoky Bones this year. Straight to bankruptcy. Doors closed for good. You feel me? The difference isn't luck. It's just that Red Robin, they chose to restructure before the walls came down. After they shrank the footprint on the purpose instead of watching it collapse. That's a business lesson, but hold that thought because in about 6 minutes we're going to see exactly what opposite instant plays out in Washington State. We are going to see. Detroit had some of the worst air quality on the entire planet this morning. Not the worst in Michigan, the worst in the world. According to this morning's reading, every one of Michigan's 83 countries is under a statewide air quality alert right now. Here's the details that should stop you. This smoke isn't coming from Michigan wildfires. It's not even coming from Michigan neighbors in the usual sense. It's drifting down from the fires burning north of Minnesota, overhead, Arrowhead, across Ontario, hundreds of active fires, according to the Canadian wildfire tracking. The smoke crossed into Wisconsin, into the Michigan, then settled low enough over Detroit to make it just unsafe to go outside. Think about what that means. A fire that started near my home state crossed international border and then a state border, then ended up in somebody's lungs 500 miles away who had absolutely nothing to do with the starting of it. Nobody voted on that. A signed treaty about it. Nobody signed a treaty about it. The smoke just didn't recognize the line on the map. Not a metaphor I'm reaching for. That's just what happened on the actual news. Wednesday morning, a federal judge in Seattle swore in Roger Rogoff, a 26-year-old prosecutor and former judge, as the new U.S. Attorney for Western Washington. 54 minutes later, President Trump fires him. Rogoff hadn't even made it through his first meeting. He was literally sitting in the lobby, waiting for his own office when the termination email hit his phone. The legal mechanism here matters. When the U.S. Attorney sits vacant for too long, the federal law lets the district's own judges appoint someone temporarily. 17 judges appointed across 5 different presidents, Republicans and Democrats alike, unanimously picked off Rogoff. The White House answer was that the judges skipped the consultation with the administration and that the president has the authority to remove any court appointed attorney, regardless of that. This is the second time this year this happened. A New York prosecutor named Kinsella got the same treatment back in February, fired hours after his swearing in. Whichever side that you fight, you land on. The pattern is the same, as we have seen across all episodes. A line got crossed, jurisdictional, institutional, and whatever you want to call it, and triggered an immediate, forceful reaction from whoever felt its crossing. Threatening their position, Rogoff's lawyer are reportedly preparing a legal challenge. This this one's not over. So here's the threat. A golf course where geography is the only referee. A restaurant chain that redrew its own map before someone else could. A wildfire that never asked permission to cross a border. A prosecutor fired for the moment he crossed into a seat someone else wanted to control. Every single one of these stories is about a boundary. Who sets it, who crosses it, and who decides what happens next. I think about as a Palestinian, and I think about it as somebody from Minnesota. Borders get treated like they are permanent, like they are natural law, but smoke doesn't ask for a visa. A debt restructuring doesn't ask permission for an old organizational chart, and history has never once made the person holding the line agree to it should move. The line only holds as long as everyone else pretends it's more solid than it actually is. That's not grievance, it's just a pattern recognition. And once you see it, you start seeing it everywhere. And from a fairway in England to a courthouse in Seattle, the air outside your own front door. That's the 4 stories. One thread, 10 minutes. If you want 90-second version of any of these, tell me which one. And in the comments, I'll break down solo tomorrow. I'm Mr. O from the stove from Minnesota. Like, subscribe, and I'll see you next time.